Imagine a beautiful scene with me. A wedding has just finished. The sun is going down, painting the sky in colors of orange, pink, and soft purple. The guests have all gone home. The loud music has stopped. The dancing is over. Now there is only the quiet. It is a very special kind of silence. Can you feel it? It is the peaceful moment right after a big event. The stress of planning the wedding is gone. The worry about the flowers or the food is over. Two people are sitting together. They are finally alone. They look at each other and smile. This is the start of their new life. It is a moment of pure sweetness. It is a moment of deep relief. They are tired, but they are very happy. Their hearts are full of hope. They don't have to think about work tomorrow. They don't have to think about the rest of the world. They only have to think about each other. In this quiet space, everything feels new. The air feels different. The world feels smaller, but also much bigger. This is the beginning of a journey. It is the very first step into a shared future. In many parts of the world, we call this special time a honeymoon. It is a beautiful word, isn't it? It sounds soft and romantic. But have you ever stopped to think about what it actually means? Why do we use the word honey? And why do we use the word moon? Tonight, we are going to explore this together. We are going to look into the past to find the answer. Let's begin our journey. Words are like little boxes. When we open them, we find stories inside. Some stories are very old. The word honeymoon is one of those boxes. Think about the word for a second. In English, we put two words together, honey and moon. If you are learning English, you know these words well. Honey is a sweet food made by bees. The moon is the bright light in the night sky. But why do we put them together for a wedding? If you think about it literally, a honeymoon sounds a bit strange. Is it a moon made of honey? Does it rain honey at night? Of course not. Most people today think of a honeymoon as a vacation. They think of white sand beaches. They think of blue oceans and tall palm trees. They think of expensive hotels and fancy dinners. But the word did not start with travel. It did not start with airplanes or suitcases. Long ago, people did not go on vacations after they got married. They stayed home. They worked in their fields. They lived in their villages. So where did this word come from? Why did people hundreds of years ago start using it? It is a sweet mystery, isn't it? It is a mystery that takes us back to ancient times. It takes us to a time when life was very different. It takes us to a time when the world was darker at night. It takes us to a time when things we find simple today were very valuable. Tonight, we are going to be like detectives. We are going to follow the clues. We will look at ancient traditions. We will look at old languages. And we will discover why we still use this word today. Are you ready to find out? Let's look at the first part of the word. Let's talk about the golden liquid that gives the honeymoon its name. Let's talk about honey. Imagine you are living thousands of years ago. You don't have a grocery store. You don't have sugar in a bag. If you want something sweet, it is very hard to find. In ancient times, honey was like gold. It was a treasure. People called it the liquid of the gods. Why? Because it was the only way to taste something truly sweet. Bees were respected and even feared. Finding a beehive in a tree was a moment of great luck. People would risk being stung just to get a little bit of that golden liquid. But honey was more than just food. It was also a medicine. If you had a cut on your skin, you put honey on it. If you had a sore throat, you ate a spoonful of honey. It was a powerful gift from nature. Because it was so rare and so good, honey became a symbol. It symbolized everything that was good in life. It symbolized wealth. It symbolized health. And, most importantly, it symbolized love. When something is sweet, We don't just mean the taste, we mean the feeling. When a person is kind, we say they are sweet. When a moment is beautiful, we call it a sweet moment. In many cultures, honey was used in religious ceremonies. It was given as an offering to the gods. People believed that honey could bring blessings to a new marriage. They wanted the couple's life to be as sweet as the honey. They wanted their home to be full of the best things. They wanted their love to never turn bitter or sour. But there was another way people used honey. They didn't just eat it, they turned it into a drink. This drink was very important for weddings. This drink is called mead. Have you heard of mead? It is a very old type of wine. It is made from honey, water, and yeast, and for a new husband and wife, it was the most important drink in the world. Long ago, in places like Europe and parts of Asia, mead was the favorite drink for celebrations. It was strong, it was sweet, and it was special. When two people got married, the whole village would celebrate. There was music and dancing. But the most important part of the party was the toast. The family would give the couple mead to drink. But they didn't just give them one glass. No, they gave them a lot of mead. They gave them enough to last for a long time. Why did they do this? There were a few reasons. First, they believed mead gave people energy and strength. A new marriage is a big change, and the couple needed strength for their new life together. Second, many people believed mead helped with fertility. Fertility is the ability to have children. In ancient times, having children was very important for a family's survival. They believed the honey in the mead would help the couple start a family quickly. But there was also a social reason. The mead was a gift. It was a way for the parents to say, "We want you to be happy. We want your first days together to be full of joy." Imagine the couple in their small home. Outside, the world is cold and difficult, but inside, they have their honey wine. They drink it together every night. It makes them feel warm. It makes them laugh. It helps them relax and get to know each other. It is a time of celebration that lasts long after the wedding day is over. This tradition was very common in many cultures. From the Celts to the Saxons, the honey drink was a part of every wedding. It was a sweet beginning to a long journey. But how long did this tradition last? This brings us to the second part of our word. We have talked about the honey. Now we must look at the moon. Why a moon? Let's find out. Let's look up at the night sky. What do you see? You see the moon. But the moon does not always look the same, does it? Sometimes it is a thin silver line. Sometimes it is a half circle. And once a month, it is a big, bright, glowing ball. A full moon. Before we had modern calendars on our phones, people used the moon to keep track of time. One full cycle of the moon, from new moon to full moon and back again, is about 29 or 30 days. In Old English, the word for moon and the word for month were very closely related. In fact, a month is literally a moonth. It is the time it takes for one moon to pass. So, when we say moon in the word honeymoon, we are actually talking about a month of time. Specifically, we are talking about the first month of marriage. This was the honey month. It was the time when the couple drank their mead. It was the time when their love was the newest and the sweetest. Think about how a month feels. 30 days is a good amount of time. It is long enough to start a new habit. It is long enough to feel a change in your life. For a newly married couple, this first month was a bubble. It was a protected time. They were moving from their old lives into their new life. The honeymoon was the bridge between those two worlds. In the ancient world, people were very connected to the cycles of nature. They followed the sun for the day and the moon for the month. They believed their lives should follow these patterns too. They believed that the first month was the most important. If the first month was sweet, the whole marriage would be strong. If the honey lasted for the whole moon, the couple would be happy. But there is a specific culture that really made this tradition famous. To see the honeymoon in action, we have to travel north. We have to visit the lands of the Vikings and the ancient Germanic tribes. Imagine a large wooden hall in a cold, snowy forest. This is the home of a Norse family, the people we often call Vikings. Inside, it is warm and smoky. A wedding has just happened. The father of the bride stands up. He is a strong man with a long beard. He has a very important job to do. He must provide the mead. In these cultures, it was often the tradition for the bride's father to give the couple enough mead to last for one full lunar month. Every single day for 30 days, the husband and wife would drink the honey wine together. This was not just for fun. It was a custom to ensure their bond was solid. They called this the honeymoon. It was a literal month of honey. They believed that if they drank this golden wine every day for a month, their love would grow deep roots. The father wanted to make sure his daughter was taken care of. He wanted to make sure the new husband was happy. The mead was like a guarantee of a good start. Imagine the couple sitting by the fire, just like we are now. They share a cup. They talk about their dreams. They learn about each other's secrets. During this month, they didn't have to work as hard as usual. The community understood that this was a special time. It was a time for the couple to become a team. This tradition is one of the strongest roots of our modern word. Even though we don't drink mead for 30 days anymore, we still keep the idea. We still believe that the first month of marriage is special. But as time went on, the meaning of the word began to change. It wasn't just about honey wine anymore. People started to look at the moon in a different way. They realized that the moon changes. It grows bright, but then it fades away. And in the 1500s, writers started to use the word honeymoon as a bit of a warning. As we move into the 16th and 17th centuries, the word honeymoon appears in books. But it wasn't always used to describe a happy vacation. Writers of that time were very realistic. They looked at the moon and saw that it was never the same for long. They looked at honey and noticed that it could melt or be eaten quickly. They started to use honeymoon as a metaphor. A metaphor is when we use one thing to describe another. They used the honeymoon to describe the temporary nature of new love. One famous writer from the year 1546 said that the honeymoon is like the first month of marriage. At first, it is very sweet. But just like the moon, that sweetness begins to change. The moon becomes smaller. The honey gets finished. The writer was saying, "Be careful, this feeling won't last forever." In those days, the word was a bit of a warning. It told couples that the intense passion of the first month would eventually fade into the reality of daily life. They believed that after the honeymoon phase, the real work of marriage began. You had to deal with money, with chores, and with disagreements. The sweetness would lessen, and life would become more serious. Have you ever heard someone say, "The honeymoon is over"? We still use this phrase today. We say it when a new job starts to get difficult. We say it when a new relationship faces its first big problem. It means that the easy, perfect part is finished. Now, you have to work hard. You have to be patient. You have to be strong. It is interesting, isn't it? The word started as a happy tradition with wine. Then it became a warning about how feelings change. But then, something happened in the 1800s. The word changed again. It stopped being a warning and started to become an adventure. It became the honeymoon we know today. In the 19th century, the world began to change very fast. We had steamships and trains. People could travel further than ever before. Before this time, a honeymoon was just a period of time at home. But in England, wealthy couples started a new trend. They called it a bridal tour. Instead of staying in their village, they would travel to visit relatives who couldn't come to the wedding. It was a way to share their happiness with family far away. Soon, this bridal tour changed. Couples decided they didn't just want to visit family. They wanted to see the world. They wanted to go to beautiful places like the mountains of Switzerland or the beaches of Italy. By the late 1800s, the bridal tour and the honeymoon became the same thing. The honeymoon wasn't just a month of drinking mead at home. It was a trip. It became a time for a couple to escape. They wanted to leave their families and their responsibilities behind. They wanted to start their marriage with an adventure. This is when the modern honeymoon was born. It became a symbol of freedom. It was the one time in your life when you could focus completely on your own happiness. In the 20th century, this idea spread to everyone, not just the wealthy. After World War II, travel became cheaper. More people could afford to take a week or two to go to the ocean or a big city. Today, when we hear honeymoon, we think of a plane ticket. We think of a suitcase. We think of a beautiful hotel room with a view. But even though the how has changed, the why is still the same. Whether it is drinking mead in a Viking hall or sitting on a beach in Hawaii, the goal is the same. The goal is to protect that initial sweetness. The goal is to create memories that will last when the moon starts to fade. It is a beautiful way to begin a long story together. So, my friends, we have traveled through time. We have seen the golden honey of the ancients. We have tasted the mead of the Vikings. We have heard the warnings of the 16th century writers. And we have seen the trains and planes of the modern world. What does this tell us about the honeymoon? It tells us that love has many phases. It tells us that change is natural. The moon must change. It must grow, and it must shrink. That is what the moon does. And love is the same way. The first month, the honeymoon, is beautiful and sweet. It is a gift. But if the moon never changed, we would never see the stars. If the honey never ended, we wouldn't appreciate the other flavors of life. Real love isn't just about the honey part. It is also about what happens after the moon fades. It is about staying together when the mead is gone and the travel is over. It is about finding sweetness in the small, everyday moments. It is about a quiet cup of coffee on a Monday morning. It is about holding hands when things are difficult. The honeymoon is a wonderful beginning. It is a time to celebrate and to dream. But the journey that follows is the most important part. As we sit here by our fire, think about the honeymoons in your own life. Not just in marriage, but the beginning of any new journey. A new language, a new job, a new friendship. Enjoy the sweetness. Drink the mead. Be happy in the bright light of the full moon. But do not be afraid when things change. Change is just the next chapter of the story. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed our journey through the history of this beautiful word. The fire is getting low now, and it is time for us to rest. But before you go, remember, life is a mix of honey and moonlight. Both are beautiful, and both are necessary. Good night, my friends. May your journey always be sweet.